Attention pro athletes. Want to secure your financial legacy and thrive off the field? Oakbridge Wealth Management, led by wealth manager Chris Anicetti, is your dedicated financial planning ally. But don't take it from me. Take it from the Dallas Cowboys' Tyler Biadasz. He says, Chris set goals financially and has been incredibly impactful in my journey in the NFL. Experience our customized, comprehensive approach, trusted by top NFL players. Don't leave your financial success to chance. Connect with Chris on Instagram at OakbridgeWM_Anicetti. That's OakbridgeWM_ANICETE, and let Oakbridge Wealth Management guide you across the goal line.
First sheet again, big opening, pass 5, pass 10, Randall's a man, and he goes all the way to the 15-yard line. 17 yards on the carry.
Welcome back to Believe in Badgers on the Believe Network, presented by BetOnline.ag and Oakbridge Wealth Management. Once again, I'm Matt Perkins, joined, as always, by Badger legend, the Hebrew Hammer himself, Matt Bernstein. Bernie, how are we doing today?
I think what they said Thursday, I was at the game on Saturday, and I finally feel not hungover as an old man. Washed up, as Sojourn said before. I'm washed up and I'm old, so it takes a long runway to recover. But dude, every day on the podcast is a holiday, and I'm just pumped to talk about the defense because I'm not a defensive guy. Sojourn is, but like in my eyes, they've gotten so much better. So very excited to talk about it.
Absolutely. And like Bernie said, we have our friend Sojourn Shelton back in the house today. Sojourn, you can catch him now as well as Warren Herring and James White on Big Ten Platoon. We'll be talking about that a little bit more, jumping into the defense as well. Plus, we've got some of your questions for the mailbag sent. Thank you for sending those in. Before we get into it, want to remind you all that we are presented by BetOnline.ag, where they continue to be your number one source for all of your online sports wagering needs. You name it, they've got it over there at betonline.ag. Head on over to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit with our promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV. Bet online, where the game starts. We are going to start here today talking about the evolution of the defense over the past, 4 to 6 weeks since we last had Sojourn on the show. And I think that we can all see that there have definitely been some improvements. So let's start with some of these improvements, Sojourn, in your eyes, in the past month or so. What's the biggest step forward the Badgers have taken?
I think the pass rush, man, you even seen it, on Saturday against Ohio State, just being able, I want to say, to get 4 sacks against a pretty good, offense, a pretty good offensive line. And I just think just overall, the pressure they've been getting on quarterbacks for the last month has also helped in the back end. So when you say just improvements, it's really an overall improvement from the pass rush working hand in hand with, the guys covering in the backside. In the back end. And you've able to see, those guys make more plays on the football just by, a couple more seconds or a little bit more pressure on the quarterback.
I think the back end guys have allowed this. I'm actually the opposite. I think our DBs are so much better than we've seen the past couple of years that they are allowing our guys to get home sometimes. Granted, the Ohio State game was a little different. We had guys who were teed up, ready to go. And I love our defense played with confidence. That got me hyped.
And I think overall, when you're able to play in conjunction together, and I think overall you're starting to see it. Those guys are getting on the same page, and so much of coverage isn't just, hey, this is your guy, go cover him. It gets a lot more complicated once you get to college and you get to the next level because things have to work hand in hand together. You got to communicate, and you can see guys are truly doing that. And a lot of guys have been stepping up. Obviously Rico, Hunter is really one of my favorite players to watch. That kid is a missile. He's everywhere. He's, to me, an eraser, right? You have to have one of those type of players in the back end where, obviously he can come down, he can stand in the box, he can tackle well, but when you got guys on the outside that can be aggressive and that want to make plays on the ball, sometimes you get caught. And when you have a safety like Hunter, who he can get from hash to hash, and like I said, an eraser can cover those mistakes, you're good.
Wait, so I got to ask you, we had guys on from Ohio State that say this guy, Marvin Harrison Jr., might be the best wide receiver they've ever had, which is an amazing accolade if that's true. I don't know. What on a defensive back, like what is day one? Like when you come in on Monday, you're like, what's the coach saying? Like, what are you thinking? What's going through the heads of all the guys saying we're playing one of the best dudes? And then, he's going to have a day. How do you kind of, I don't know, stop like the well from opening?
Well, it's so crazy you say that, right? Like me, James, Warren, when I tell you guys we were impressed, just honestly watching, you know what I'm saying? Like being able to see a prospect like Marvin, like, I could remember watching his pops, you know what I'm saying, as a kid for the Colts. So to me, it was like, I didn't think Marvin, Big Marv was that big, but seeing him is like, he's all of 6'4", 205, like he is well put together. And then just coming in on Monday, it's, it's going to be fun. You're playing a guy that they're gonna feature, right? Like their offense grows honestly through him, so as good as he plays is how good, as a team, they're on the offensive side of the ball, they're going to play. So I think overall as a player, as a secondary, you come in, you're ready to take on the challenge. I could just think, date back to, guys that, I've played at my time there. And then just our unit as a whole, just being super excited and geeked for the challenge. I was able to play against, at the time, Corey Davis, who ended up going top 5 and being, the first receiver off the board. And it kind of like that matchup with, him and Rico, and then with me, Corey just kind of gave me, like a similar feel, right? Like you're playing against, honestly, like if not the best player in college football right now, you're playing against the top guy, and you want to be put on the spotlight, and Rico was on the spotlight, and I think he balled, and that whole secondary played well, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I want to talk about Rico more specifically here in a minute, but I think there are some things with this defense that are still lacking a little bit. One thing that Bernie and I keep coming back to is the run fits, and we saw a lot of cutback lanes, especially for Trevion Henderson this past weekend. He was able to gash the run defense. Where can this unit still improve, Sojourn?
I like you hit it perfect, right? The run fits and stopping the run. It's not even Ohio State and Trey Hand the past, I want to say 2 weeks, right? Iowa, I think I want to say their running back rushed for like 174 yards. And then I'm going blank on who was the team that we played in
Illinois. Luke Altmaier, the quarterback.
Illinois had a 100-yard rusher, right? So that's kind of overall been where we've been lacking as a defense. And then like even in the Ohio State game, like you say, the cutback lanes, the whole time we were watching the game, it was like they kept getting to the edges, right? Like our ends wasn't cutting off, as we would say, like the lane, like cutting off the water, right? Which is forcing the guy to cut back. And then you hope the flow of the defense gets there. So it's obviously the rushing, the stopping the run, but I think overall, like we talked to Sam Arneson, and he brought up just a really important piece, and he was just saying like how things overall just take time to get acclimated and adjusted to, and he was saying like even when we went from Coach B to Coach A, right? Like obviously learning the whole new system, that took time, and it doesn't just click right away. And then even when we went from Coach A back to Coach Chris, it still took time to just try to, get, down and to have it 100%. So I think that's what we're going through right now with Coach Fickle, right? They're still trying to figure out, their fits and where they need to be in certain spots. And, I think, people don't want to accept it, that it's a kind of like a rebuild year, but I think next season, everything will be fine, but we gotta finish off these last couple games strong.
Sojourn, is it the 3-3-5 that's really, it's much different? Everyone says, oh, you have 3, it sounds 3-3-4 is the same as a 3-5, but it's really 3-3-5. It's really, really different for offenses to go against it, to game plan, but also for defense to learn. Is that our biggest, do you think that's our biggest issue? It's just we have to break, not bad habits, but 5 years. Some guys have been on the team 4 years, 3 years, 6 years. We have to break those habits that we are, maybe Jimmy, you could tell me best. He's like, hey man, if you're a D lineman, go make a play. Or we had the dudes to make those plays. Now we need guys to hold gaps, and they're trying to make plays. it just seems like we're getting better each week, but it's hard to break those habits, as you were saying. Is that our biggest concern?
Yeah, and habits is a very important thing in football, right? Like you've been doing something for so long, and like you said, we got guys that's been here 3-4 years, sometimes 5 years, and they're so accustomed to doing it this way. And then you have a new coaching staff that demands you to do it a whole nother way, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just a part of just, like I said, getting the reps, seeing it. A lot of football is seeing the looks, you know what I'm saying? So I think overall, as guys continue to see looks and, they continue to figure out, all right, I need to be here when the ball gets here or to protect the cutback lanes. Once you fully understand what everybody in the defense is doing, I think it helps out. And I think that's really an underrated kind of like ability, right? Like to be able to understand, okay, like if I'm playing corner, the D lineman should be here, or, a linebacker should be flowing this way. Like once you understand the big picture and you can see it, everything runs a lot more smoother.
Yeah. And one of the things that I've really been noticing about this unit, this 3-3-5 under Tressel and Hitchler, is they seem to be rotating guys even more than I can remember from any unit before, especially in the front six, I guess it is, for Wisconsin at this point. But they're also bringing a lot of like 3 safety looks. I noticed we saw a lot of Austin Brown this past game, who actually I thought at safety looked really good. Kamoy Latu had his best game of the season against Ohio State as well. Talk about, the only guys who seem to be always on the field for this team are Rico Hallman and Hunter Wohler. Like those are like the only 2 guys, it seems, that are out there for every snap. And Jason Maitre, the slot corner. Those are the only 3 guys that seem to be out there for like every single snap. What is all of that rotation doing positively for the defense? And also as a player, what are sort of the pros and cons of being rotated in like that?
The pros is, like, especially like if you're on a D lineman, you can put your hand in the dirt and go get the quarterback, right? And you're rushing with knowing that, what I'm saying, like you're going to save some of that energy. The con is you can't never really get into a rhythm. And it's so much of, like I said, football is feeling the game and just seeing certain looks, right? So that's really a con to in my opinion. And I could say, from a corner standpoint, right? Like, and our secondary hasn't been rotating as much, but it's such a field thing, right? Like, and I think that was how do I say this? That was an important piece with trying to stop Marv. I just think like sometimes you get out there and you're able to, get in front of him and you're able to see what he's good at, what he's not good at, or, what his weaknesses is. And when you're rotating, I just feel like you're not able to get that feel, as much as maybe as Ricardo was, but Ricardo wasn't traveling. So I think overall, as far as like the pros and cons to, our rotation is, yeah, you're able to conserve energy and go after the quarterback, or, you're fresh, you got fresh legs, X, Y, and Z. And then the con would be just not being able to feel the game too much.
Let me ask you a wacky question.
Cool.
Do you think that maybe the coaches are like, hey, listen, we're going to win out and we're going to see them again, and let's not show everything. Like maybe our game plan will be so much different, because you have to think this way, right? We're going to face either, if we win out and Iowa loses, we're going to face Michigan or Ohio State.
And that's what, like, when you said that, I could kind of see maybe that being the case, but I think us losing to Iowa was really big. And I'm not, what I'm saying? Like, obviously we got to win out, but we need them to lose one. You get what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
I think on the defense side of the ball, it's not really so much. I tell people all the time, there's only so many coverages you can run. Maybe on offense, you can game plan and keep certain looks away until maybe if you see another team again. But, offense, you only got, defense, you only got a certain amount of looks you can show, which is either cover 1, cover 2, cover 3, cover 4. And then,
But you put Hallman on Harrison maybe next and have him travel. Like, could that be a wrench in the works?
Me personally, I do, right? And that's just because I feel like Ricardo has shown and proven that he is a premier and he is a good corner. Now, the thing with that is everybody's scheme necessarily doesn't fit that. And,
Sure.
right now, I don't know if Trustle's schemes fit that, because if you want to go back, I don't think Sauce Gardner traveled at Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying?
He didn't, but he also had another like top 100 pick in Kobe Bryant
Kobe
across
Bryant
from him on the other side. So
for sure.
that wasn't like a one man. Now I'm not saying that this cornerback unit is a one man show with Hallman, but he's shown that he's the best guy in that room. And what you saw Ohio State counter with in the second half, especially, was put Harrison in the slot against Maitre, right?
Yeah.
Because Maitre, I mean, Hallman's not a big guy, but Maitri's even smaller. And you saw that, at least I saw them the way I took it. They put him against Maitre to really prioritize that matchup. And yeah, like you said, like you don't see them traveling also because Maitri's only played in the slot. He never plays outside corner.
He never played on the outside. And I mean, I think that just comes with overall just experience, right? Like Maitri's he's gonna get those looks now, and then as he grows as a player. Now he can, all guys should be interchangeable, and they can move Matrix on the outside and the inside, and the same thing with like Rico and everybody else. Once guys are able to be moved around, then I think what I'm saying, that is the chess piece and the counter move to moving Marvin in the slot or wherever you want to move him to. But that was just something that was real big to me. Like I was wondering, like, hey, is Rico gonna travel? And we talked to him on Friday, and he told us like right now. They're just playing sides. But I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing either, but when you have a guy like that, like he has to be the star. Like you have to know where 18 is every single time. And I think about the touchdown he scored on the under route where he took it. I want to say it was first touchdown. It was first one. Stuff like that, you just got to communicate, right? You got to know where Marv is. And when Marv is going in, you should have guys saying under, and either a linebacker should be, taking them on the cross, or a safety coming down, or however it may be. And like, so a perfect example of, guys working together on Rico's pick, they were in cover 3 and Marv came on the over from the other side. And you can see guys communicating and Rico seeing it. Okay, this my post push to the safety. Now this guy coming across, he's coming right to me. And the quarterback didn't see him, and that's where you had the interception from Rico.
Well, let's keep talking about Rico because he has turned into one of the premier corners in the nation, right? I mean, I think at this point he's got to be a first-team all-conference guy. He's second in the nation with 5 interceptions. The pick 6 against Rutgers basically won the game for the Badgers. That's a 14-point swing. What's he doing that's making him so impactful?
Man, like. This is obviously my first time really getting a chance to really know him, and just I think what he's doing is, man, his IQ is on another level. Just being able to see things, and I said it, last week, talking with James. It just seems like everything, like the game is truly slowing down for him. It's in slow motion. Everything's playing out how it's supposed to, and he's in the right spots, and he's doing the toughest part, which I said is catching a football, making a play. Like everything else is easy, right? If you stick to your keys and you are where you're supposed to be, the hardest part from that point is securing the interception and catching it. And he's doing the hardest part, which is catching the ball. I will say I was a little bummed out. I've been keeping tabs on, I think he's worked his butt off so much that he's deserved to be, in that conversation for the Thorpe Award. And I just seen this past, like either yesterday or Tuesday, they came out with the quarter semifinal list or whatever case in. And I was bummed that he wasn't in it because, I just think it's not fair for a guy to, have 5 interceptions, right? He's tied for second in the most in the conference or whatever the case may be.
In the country.
Interceptions, you got to pick 6. And if you're watching football, he's been the bright spot of our defense. Like when you know how important certain players are to a defense, I just feel like that should be taken into account for us. So, him not making a list kind of just, upsetting me a little bit because, he deserves to be on there. But, for him, I want him to just keep pressing, keep going, keep making plays. He has, we're going to face teams that are going to throw the ball. This weekend, Indiana is a team that is going to let it fly. So he's going to have more opportunities to make more plays. And, I'm just overall happy for Rico. He know he's my boy, and I just want him to keep going.
Another Florida guy. Another
Florida. Yeah, that too, right? Yeah, being from South Florida too. So, just happy for him. He's a good kid, right? Like I don't know if you guys have got a chance to meet and talk to him, but
not yet.
Yeah, he's a good kid. He reminds me a lot of James as far as just being like even keel, laid back, chill. He's the one. He's the one.
Yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic, and I hope he keeps getting these INTs because he's a playmaker, and I thought even from the beginning of the season till now, one of the things that's impressed me most is I felt like a couple of those interceptions early in the season he was really gambling on those, and now he's just making them in phase, right?
Yeah.
He's not even gambling for them. It seems like he's even like a step ahead of where he was in week 1, week 2.
But the crazy thing is like, sometimes, I could just speak from but sometimes we legit are gambling, and that's what the position is, right? Like when you want a guy to go out there, and some plays do fall in your lap, if you're where you're supposed to be, X, Y, and Z. But sometimes, man, you got to gamble out there. If you want to make a play, if you want to be that player to, shift how things are going in the game or give momentum. Like momentum is such a big piece of football as well. When you're able to, take the momentum from an offense that's driving the ball and give, your offense, a couple more possessions to score, I think that's extremely important in a football game as well. So, maybe in the start of the season he was gambling, and I do think sometimes he's gambling, but it's more understanding of, hey, like this is the stuff that I've seen on film and I know it's coming, so I can take that gamble and that calculated risk, and it's paying off for him.
So I know we're jumping into a different segment in a second, but what are you so excited? Like what overall for the Badgers? What was really exciting about Saturday for you, and what are you excited for in the future?
So watching the game, we played Ohio State very, very tough. I mean, from an offensive standpoint, from a defensive standpoint. So I am just looking at what we have now and understanding that it's going to take time, and Coach Fickle is going to, he's going to get his guys, or not get his guys, but he's going to get, people in certain places that he wants them to be. And then, just building his philosophies and X, Y, and Z as far as, our team. I'm excited for where we are going to go. And I think that's what I took away from the game. Like I've been watching on TV, but it's a whole totally different feel when you're out there and, you can see the guys communicating and talking and trying to get on the same page, and they're playing, which now is the number one team in the country. And, for the most part, we played them tough. So I'm excited for the future and, how Coach Fickle is going to steer this thing and put it all together.
Attention athletes. Do you want a frictionless and tailored financial planning experience to secure your future? Well, look no further. Introducing Oak Bridge Wealth Management, the premier financial planning firm for professional athletes. Led by wealth manager Chris Anicetti, our team provides a unique and comprehensive approach, ensuring your financial success both on and off the field. We understand the unique challenges you face as a professional athlete, from managing cash flow habits to planning major business purchases and navigating complex contracts. That's why we've developed a proven process, working closely with our strategic partners to provide seamless solutions for your unique financial journey. Our services evolve with your career, offering short, mid, and long-term goal setting, portfolio optimization, real estate investments, and more. As you transition to life beyond the field, we support you with career development and philanthropic ventures. But don't just take our word for it. Top NFL players like Chase Boulier, Tyler Biadasz, Alec Ingold, and more trust Oak Bridge Wealth Management to guide them towards financial success. Troy Dye of the Minnesota Vikings says, I really love the work that Chris and the rest of the Oak Bridge group do. I especially like the honesty and transparency when it comes to setting up financial goals and plans that best fit my needs and situation. It's time to elevate your financial game plan. Connect with Chris on Instagram at OakBridgeWM_Anicetti. That's OakBridgeWM_ANICETE. And join the winning team.
All right. Well, as Bernie alluded to, we've got a mailbag segment. Thank you for everyone who sent in your questions, especially on IG. We got a bunch of them, so I couldn't even get to all of them. But we're going to start. This is for both of you guys. What is the craziest thing that you ever saw in the weight room? I don't think it has to be like the biggest thing you've ever seen lifted, but what was the most like impressive or craziest thing that you ever saw in the weight room? Bernie, I'll start with you.
I mean, I wasn't there for it, but Chris Presley doing however much he did 20,000 times is I mean, what we had him on, he said he did what? It was over 600 pounds, and he did it 9 or 10 times. He ripped his shirt off, knuck, or if you buck like this, like the whole thing was wild. And I remember those days, with fondness of like maxing out, and it was hilarious. But watching that guy lift was scary.
605 for 9 reps.
That's crazy.
He broke my record of he broke my record for fullback squat, and he broke what's his name's record, Aaron Gibson's for total poundage,
or whatever. Yeah.
I would believe that he might still hold the record.
What about you?
The craziest thing for me, Matt B, I wasn't, in those big lift groups with you guys, but it's not even just like a story, man. It's just those summer workouts, man, was crazy. And then if you were, obviously you got a first group and then you got a second group. So, I could vividly remember, coming into the locker room, coming in the weight room sometimes of that second group and just seeing guys like lay it out, like, oh shoot, what we got today, and you start knowing certain people that like, okay, I know Matt B is good at powerlifting. Okay, well, if he's looking like this in the weight room, what in the world is going on in here? So I can't really name specific guys. Just in my time there, I've seen people pretty much lift the world, but I can't name specific names. But yeah, the weight room can be a scary place, man. It can be a scary
What lift did you fear the most, or like be like, oh my God, I can't believe we have to do this today?
Oh, bro, in the summertime, we used to have to run like 41. Not all at once, of course, but we used to have like to run 30 or 40 110s, and they have to be timed. So, skill guys with 16 seconds, and that thing, it get hot in Madison for sure. People don't really get cold, but it get extremely hot during the summer. So, just running all those 110s on the field with it blazing outside, you can feel this. You can feel the heat on the turf. Like it just used to be. You had to get your mind right for sure.
All right.
But I completely agree. Just the thought of like how hard you had to work out, go run, do these things, power lift, and you had to be teed up every time you went on the race. There was no like, hey coach, I'm gonna take a break today. They're like, 5 years, there was not one of them. So just to even have dudes be able to do it, day in and day out, just says a lot about some people.
Yeah, it sounds the same. It's so cool what your body can do when you know what I'm saying, when you put your mind to it and you push your limits. It's so cool what your body can do. I definitely will say that.
All right, this next one is from Sam in Economawalk. Which player that you played with would help the 2023 Badgers the most? So who would you want to plug in to either the offense or the defense?
I would want to plug in TJ, man. Like it's so. Just playing with him was so fun, like literally unlimited motor. He could get to the quarterback. TJ made it so fun. Like I used to tell TJ and Beagle, they both were really good. But, those guys made it so easy to cover, receivers back then. It literally felt like you either hike the ball and you had 1 second to get it out. But I think just right now where we are, like pass rushers are so important to, football that if you plug in a star like TJ in any kind of defense, and he's able to just go after the quarterback and, get sacks, change the field position. He's the guy that I would want to plug in.
What about you, Bernie?
I mean, I'm on an offensive side, so I think there's two. I think we would probably need Joe Thomas the most. Yeah. I mean, we need an O-lineman. I would say Lee Evans would change the pass game tremendously. Okay. So, it's hard to say.
As a vertical threat. Yeah, I can see that.
And he didn't drop a ball. Like, he never dropped a pass. So, like, yes, those guys. I mean, on the defensive side, anyone on the D-line, Antaj would be amazing. Jason Jefferson, Erasmus James. You were talking about like every one of them was, in the NFL and were just dominant. So, but if I had to pick one, I think Joe Thomas.
I think if I had to pick one, I'd pick J.J. Watt. You pick TJ. I would pick JJ because of, like you said, those like the run issues we have. I feel like he would clean up a lot of the run defense issues, as well as be an elite pass rusher, especially on you could kick him inside on third and long. I love what you'd be able to do there. Okay, this next one just for Sojourn. Would you have liked playing corner in the 3-3-5 as opposed to the 3-4 you played in? Why or why not?
Excuse me. To be honest, like for me, I don't really think it would have mattered if I would like to be in a 3-4. I guess that's what I was successful at. But just it's kind of the same. Like I think corner is so much of knowing your rules and knowing what you can do and what you can't do. And I just think that's why it wouldn't really be too much of a difference if I was to play in a 3-4 or 3-3-5. I think a 3-3-5 is a lot more helpful for our D linemen to just be able to go just rush the quarterback. And I think that would have been fun, right? Like if I was in a 3-3-5 with Beagle and Watt and TJ Edwards and Joe Schobert and those guys going after the quarterback, I think that would have been cool as well. But I was successful in the 3-4, and I'll take it.
All right, final one we've got here for today. This is from Josh in Chicago. What Camp Randall tradition other than jump around is your favorite? Because we know everyone loves jump around, but what Camp Randall thing that either happens in the stands or on the field is your favorite part?
Oh, we got to build me a buttercup is good. The FU eat, I know you guys have heard it.
ESFU.
Yeah, that one is pretty cool. It's pretty funny as well. I probably would go with that. I mean, the jump around is next to none. Like just being there on Saturday was just feeling the energy. Like I haven't seen it in person since I left Madison. So being around there, like it's nothing to them. But if I had to pick one, I would go with the FU. It's funny to be in, like, honestly, like out there in the game and you're hearing that. You're like, are they really saying that? The first time I was like, are they really saying that? So yeah, I'm gonna go with that one.
I have all of them are amazing. I like the wave that it goes slow, it goes regular, it goes back, it goes slow, it goes fast. That cracks me up. I love when O section goes, oh, and everyone goes, sucks, sucks, sucks. I think that's great. One of my favorites is the student section race.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Everyone's watching, like piqued interest to see if like who's going to win, who's going to go nuts, who's going to say you suck. It just cracks me up. And it's right before jump around, which then gets you like hyped. Yeah.
I've been in a lot of, I would say, important games, and right, like going into the fourth quarter and it being third down, we got a big 3rd and 8, and I'm like looking at the jumbotron trying to pick which letter gonna win the race. I got a question for you guys.
Whoa.
Matt B, you brought it up and you were saying you would have went with Evans as a receiver. Do you think that we don't have the guys to get, I'm not trying to, step on anybody's toes or anything, but do you think we don't have the guys to get open or to help out in the pass game? Or do you think it's from a scheme standpoint, we got to scheme a little bit more to, play to these guys' strengths and get them open?
No, that's a great question. I actually think we have the guys.
Yeah, because we do.
I do. If you're looking at offense when I played, Anthony Davis, I could have said a bunch of guys. AD would have been great in this offense. Calhoun would have been, I think he's the typical, like James White, like those guys are typical. But like Lee was just different, man. You could throw a ball, like he's a game changer.
Yeah.
I think we have the guys to be game changers. I just don't think we've asked them to do that. Like when we threw up the ball against Illinois and Will Pauling just went up and got it. That's a game changer. Like obviously we won because he did that, but we threw the ball. We had confidence to throw it. And we had confidence he'd make the play. And anytime you threw Lee the ball, you had confidence he was going to make the play. And I think he's a special dude. But I love our guys. I really do. I love Braden Locke. I think he can sling it.
Yeah, he can.
But I think we need to protect him. And that's why I went with Joe, because I think we have those dudes. I don't think any of those guys right now are Lee Evans caliber. I mean, he's one of the best to ever play in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I will add a couple things. I think that our biggest issue is not getting open. I think it's drops. Receivers have 24 drops already this year, not counting tight ends and backs. Yeah. And so for me, it's a combination of, I think some of the play calling is a little, they're not at the 400 level class yet. They're somewhere like the 1 or the 200 level class. And a lot of those routes are a little bit shorter. And especially when you drop the short balls, it's absolutely killer to me.
Yeah.
And so the combination of, you saw defenses slack off a little bit once, Skylar Bell hits the big bomb against Illinois, right? Once we get some of these deeper passing routes, the Pauling touchdown that Bernie talked about, even against Ohio State, that Pauling touchdown, you see defenses have to back off a little bit and get a little bit more space, give a little more space underneath, and then those guys are catching the ball. But when it's really tightly contested catches underneath, we're dropping them all the time. And to me, you cut those drops in half, and then we're getting a lot more plays and a lot more momentum going. And so to me, the guys can get open, but it's simply that they're dropping the ball.
Yeah.
And that is
24 is a lot.
24 is a lot of drops.
I knew it was a lot of drops, but 24 is
24.
That's
bad.
I like DK a lot, man. I don't know. Like even just his playmaking ability and what he was able to do with the punt. Was it a punt? It was the punt return.
Mm-hmm.
To flip the field position against Ohio State. I just wish we could get him the ball more. I feel like the games where we did take shots to him and he came down with it, it really helped. Like I could remember the bomb on the side of the field against Washington State. Like that was a really big turning point in the game to help us get on the scoreboard. I want to say before halftime or whatever the case, but
I think it was early third quarter.
Okay, so early. Yeah, I know it was a transition period, but I just want to see those. I think that'll help us out a lot with obviously now, Braylon being hurt, but just getting lighter boxes, right? Like if you know that you have to defend and you have to win the numbers as far as like plugging guys and to help out in the pass game, Braylon in our running back room will get some of those lighter boxes. But like you said, with 24 drops, you got to show me. You guys got to show me you can catch the ball. So,
and also, Sojourn, you so about Lee Evans, but he had Brandon Williams, who was pretty much a playmaker. He played like he was 7 feet tall, but he was 5'9". You had J.O., Jonathan Orr, who could stretch the field, and then previous you had Darren Charles, who was like 6'8". So like we had underneath guys, we had all these dudes. Lee could just play his game. He never needed to go outside of his game, which was the best game you could possibly have. But I think we have these dudes, and I want to open it up because you're saying a lighter box to me is a beautiful box, and we don't do that yet. And I think it's because we have some drops. We don't get into first downs. So a bunch of times we're like not even 50% on third downs. Yeah. So we're killing drives on our own side.
Yeah,
and I look at Ohio State, even this past weekend playing them, like just knowing what we had to do to try to stop or slow down Marv. Henderson was able to get some of those looks where honestly guys on our defense made some really good plays, like D linemen, like shedding blocks and making tackles. Linebackers, filling gaps and making tackles. But you see overall, as time goes on to the game, I think as a running back, like, all right, I'm going to break one of these. And he had that big touchdown run towards, in the end of the game to kind of put it away. But as far as like a receiver group, I think this is the deepest receiver group that I've seen that we had since, KP, Quintez, AJ Taylor, our tight ends were good. Like this is the deepest receiver group we've had since those guys, that group. And that group was really good. Like they were they were coming in when I was leaving out. And I remember seeing QT and saying like, bro, he's like he's going to be a dude in a year or two. And, seeing AJ Taylor and the plays that him and KP made during camp as freshmen. So when I think of a receiver group that was able to have success, and then, some of those guys were able to go to the NFL and have success, this is this group that we have now is kind of what I compared them to. And it's just frustrating not seeing them get the balls and the opportunity to flourish like that. But to your example, like they have dropped the ball, but I just think you got to keep going to him, right? Like you got to keep going to him and giving him enough confidence. And then also, I think that goes hand in hand with the run game, and that helps BA a lot. Like if you want to say BA with a light box, I like him every time. He's a walking 5 yards every time you give him the ball. But we got to give him those better looks and help him more out on the outside.
Yep. Wait, Matt Perkins, one more thought. We have 2 good tight ends coming in next year.
We have one tight end coming in next year.
I thought we had 2.
He flipped his commitment to UCLA.
No, which one?
Booker. The kid from Wanakee.
Wow.
Oh, he's trying to get out of school, man. That's what that
is. Okay, so we have 1. I didn't see
but Grant Stack, he's a dude. He's a dude.
That's
a dude, yeah.
Okay, so we are missing an Owen Daniels type tight end also.
Yeah, we are. And we've always had one. Yeah, you're right.
We've always had one, like a Lance Kendricks or our favorite guy from the Giants.
We had a bunch of Fumagalli. Like Fum was a monster.
Fumagalli was so good.
Fum was awesome.
Fum was a monster.
I mean, and then Ferguson, obviously. Like
Ferguson.
Yep. Yeah.
So we're missing and who am I blanking on? Why am I blanking on him? Matt Perkins. We have him all the time. He played on the Giants. He won a Super Bowl.
Travis Beckham. Sorry, Travis. He's gonna be mad at me. But
like that, I think we're missing one of those dudes also.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We get one of those guys. I think if we get one of those guys, we'll be solid because our wide receivers are stacked, and we just are missing kind of a playmaker underneath a little bit. A little taller, could do blocking also. That's what I'll say. Stack is going to be that guy.
Yeah, a little extra. After this season, let me think. I think Chimry DK is a senior.
Okay.
So I think Chim will be gone. Everyone else, I think, still has eligibility. I could check the depth chart, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that everyone still has eligibility left after this season.
There you go. You're putting the pieces together. I like it.
So, I will. I think we can wrap it up there for the day. We appreciate Sojourn. Tell us a little bit more about where people can find you and Warren and James on Camp Randall Platoon.
Yeah, so we are on Camp Randall Platoon. We shoot on our Mondays after the Badger game, and then usually it kind of airs between Wednesday and Thursday. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, everything. And if you just want to get some insight, from former Badger players, as we talk, we share some stories, our thoughts on the game, check us out. I think overall it's been going really, really well. We've had success with it. This past episode was us going back to Madison, my first time since 2017. Which is a long time from now, which was a long time from now. And I just really enjoyed it. There's no place like Madison. It's truly special to me. Met a lot of, friends and, built friendships there that I'm going to have for the rest of my life. So, I'm always thankful for, Badger Nation and, what UW has been able to do for me, being a kid from South Florida and the opportunity that they gave me. And, on Wisconsin.
And to put a bow on it earlier, Chimry DK is the only senior in the unit. Hayden Rucci, the tight end, is also a senior.
Okay.
So there you have it. And there you have it for us here today on Believe in Badgers. We appreciate everyone tuning in. We'll be back again soon. Enjoy the Indiana game, everybody. We know you will. Hoping for a big win to get back on track so the Badgers can hopefully win out. I'm excited. I'll be back for my first Badger game in a very long time for Nebraska. Bernie will be there. Okay. I don't know if you're going to be back up there, Sojourn, but if you are, you should. If you aren't, you should consider joining us on November 18th. It'll be a grand old time. So that is going to be it, like I said, for today here on Believe in Badgers. So we thank you all for tuning in wherever you are. Rate, subscribe, review, 5 stars only. If you give us 4 stars,
Tip.
I'm inclined to believe that you're a hater. So that'll do it today. So, and until next time, on Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin. Tips encouraged.
Tips encouraged.
This is nowhere to do it.
We don't have a tip jar.
Yeah, no tip jar.
Yeah, but we do accept payment in forms of cold beers.
Yeah, love cold beers. Love them. Cold anything that has alcohol in it. Depends on that.